Our final session today is speech contest, going for the goal. Our presenter is distinguished Toastmaster Bill Harmon. While in Founders District, Bill was a two-time second place finisher in the Division B humorous speech contest. Although he was never brave enough to compete in the table topics contest, he did compete in the international speech contest, making it to district finals 2 years in a row, finishing third place in 2018. This year, in addition to serving as Area A4 Director, he is the District 100 Contest Chair. Today's class will center on how to run a club contest. Please welcome Bill.
Thank you, Heather, and good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. It's great to be here. I feel humbled to be in front of the people in the Zoom room because I know most of you are experts. And as Heather stated, we're focused on today is on how to run the club contest because we want as many clubs in District 100 as possible to participate. So I'm mainly going to be gearing this to the people who are going to be watching this recording later. And I do have a slide presentation that I will bring up right now. And you can all see the slide, the club speech contest. So this is my contact information. I'm a member of the Parsons Club. So you can reach me at bill.harmon@parsons.com. And also as the contest chair, you can reach me at contests@d100tm.org. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. So let me go into slide mode. There we go. So how do you get started? The first thing I want to tell people who know nothing about giving a club speech contest is to go to the Toastmasters site. And if you go under resources, you'll see speech contests there. And I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to instead share my screen. Let me see. Oh. Bring that up. Sharing my screen. Here you go. So here's the Toastmaster site. And if you click under resources here, on the right-hand side, it says speech contests right here. So if you click on there, everything you need to know is located right here. And the speech contests that we're giving this year are the international and the table topics. So if you click on each of those, there's a whole kit which you download, and it'll come as a zip file. So you download the file, left click on it, and then with your right mouse, you go to extract all, and you'll get a whole folder of all the files. And the table topics has another folder, so you want to download each of them. And there are additional materials. And one of these is a manual I will show you, Put on a Good Show. And it's a 63-page manual. Everything you need to know about planning a speech contest is in this. A lot of this will be for higher areas than the club, so you don't need to do everything that's in here. But this is a good comprehensive guide if you need to learn about speech contest. So I'm going to go back now to my presentation. So as I stated, this year we have the International Speech Contest and the table topics. Every year we have the International Speech Contest, and then the other second contest alternates. So one year we'll have table topics. Last year I think we had tall tales, and the year before we had the evaluation contest. So each club is going to need a contest chair, and this is one person who is going to volunteer to organize the whole event. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment, but the most important thing you need for your speech contest are contestants. And we want to encourage everyone who wants to participate to be able to participate. So in order to be eligible for the table topics contest, you just need to be a paid member in a club of good standing. So it's important, our dues are coming up soon. You want to make sure that your club pays their dues, has at least the 8 members, I believe, to be in good standing. Because if your club isn't in good standing, then you will not be able to proceed on to the district finals. But for the international speech contest, there's an additional requirement. In addition to being a paid member, you also need to have completed levels 1 and 2 in pathways or a DTM. And there is a list of people who are ineligible to compete. That's on page 6 of the rule book. And you'll find the rule book in both the international and the table topics. When you download that whole folder, it does have the same speech contest book. And on page 6, it tells you who's ineligible. For example, I'm serving as an area director this year, so I'm not able to compete as I usually like to do. So I said, I'll be the contest chair. And at the club level, any paid member can be a judge. There's additional requirements at the area level, but for the club level, anyone can be a judge. You do want to select a chief judge. And here are the roles that you're going to need for your speech contest. Now, how you do your speech contest depends on whether you meet in person, whether you're hybrid, or whether you're online. So this will vary, but typically the contest chair will serve as the Toastmaster of the event. It doesn't have to be that way. I've been the contest chair for my club and then served as the chief judge and had someone else be the Toastmaster. But you do need a Toastmaster, the master of ceremonies for the day. And you can check with your club. Our club has a speech contest script that we use every year. If you can email me if you need me to send you the Parsons one. And you need your contestants. And like I said, we want as many people as possible to participate. So it's more important to let everyone get a chance to do this because it's a great growth opportunity for people. As far as the judges go, you have a chief judge, and typically the chief judge does not vote himself, him or himself. However, at a club level, and depending on how large your club is, if you have a smaller number, this can be waived, perhaps. And you also want to have a tiebreaker judge. So you just want to make sure you have like an odd number, an amount of judges so that you'll have someone to be the tiebreaker judge. So in our club, we have a smaller club. So we let everyone who's not a contestant serve as a judge, all of the members. So if you have a large club, you might have your timer, your ballot counter, your sergeant at arms, they wouldn't also be judges. But if you're in a smaller club, you may need everyone to vote. If you meet in person, you're going to need a ballot counter, which is someone who goes around and collects the physical ballots. But if you're online, you would just have to find another means. We use our chat in Zoom to private message to the person. We would have it sent to the chief judge. And it's always good to have not just one timer, but you have a backup timer, because I'll show you the timing rules in a moment. But it's very important that you have 2 people serve as timers. You have one person that's going to do the timing lights, but a second person to verify the time, because sometimes it comes down to the split second. And the sergeant at arms is very important for the table topics, because we ask the same question to all the table topics contestants. And so to accomplish that, you escort all of the contestants out of the room so that they don't hear the previous contestant give their speech. Now, once a table topics contestant has given their speech, they can remain in the room. And I did want to point this out. This is in the rule book, that each club in good standing is permitted to choose its contestants for the area contest by whatever means they desire. So you do not have to have a speech contest. Let's say you don't have many members and only one person wants to be contestant. You can go ahead and send that person forward. Now, of course, it's more fun and you want to give your contestants practice. So I would hold the contest anyway. But if you do hold the contest, it says that you need to comply with the rules of the rule book. So let's say you have an international speech contest and both of your contestants speak for 7 minutes and 35 seconds and they're both disqualified. At that point, you wouldn't be able to send them forward because they've both been disqualified. So you want to make sure to point out to your contestants, do not go over that time commitment and get disqualified. But this isn't good to know because sometimes you really don't have anyone who wants to compete in the contest, and maybe one person is willing to do it. And so you really don't have to hold the club contest, although we encourage it, and it's good for your clubs and members to participate in this experience. And I did want to show you the timing rules because you can get disqualified if you go outside of the timing window. So the international speech contest is the typical 5 to 7 minute speech. But a contestant will be disqualified if they speak for less than 4 minutes and 30 seconds or more than 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So if they speak for 7 minutes and 30 seconds exactly, they've made it in the time period. So they get disqualified if they speak for 7 minutes 31 or more. And it's important that your timers understand these rules and are on the ball and show the timing lights. At 5 minutes, the green, 6 minutes, the yellow, and red at 7 minutes. And at the international speech contest, you do not show anything else for the grace period. I know in our club meeting, we have like a red heart that we show that, hey, you've gone over your time period, but you don't do that. So the contestants don't know if they've been disqualified or not at that time. And for table topics, 1 to 2 minutes, the contestant is disqualified if they speak for less than 1 minute or more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I know at our club, we disqualify people after 2 minutes and 15 seconds when we have our regular club meetings. But for the contest, it's actually 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's a nice grace period. And you do want to make sure that your contestants are shown the lights before the contest and verify that they can see them, and that if you're online, that they know how to pin the timer up at the top so that they don't lose sight of the timer. Oh, are you able to see the presentation? You're seeing my screen.
Yeah, we can see it. It's just got the notes section as well.
Let me-
So you end up seeing 2 slides at the same time. That's
Okay,
better. Awesome.
yay. And I just wanted to show you, this is when you download the folder. The one on the left is the International Speech Contest folder after I extracted it from the zip. And at the right is the Table Topics one. And there's the first couple, I don't know if you can read these, are certificates. And it's always nice to acknowledge our contestants for participating. And you can fill these out afterwards. It's nice to, when we have the club in person, we used to print it out on cardstock and give everyone, there's even a participant certificate. We'd hand those out at the meeting. And you can, if you do it online, you can email it to a person or just display it on the screen. Just sort of nice to acknowledge people for participating. There's a results form, which I'll show you in a moment. There's the judge has a certificate of eligibility that they need to fill out. That's important. We have the rule book, and then we have the ballots. In the previous slot, Alyssa showed us the ballot for the table topics. And I always like to give those to the contestants beforehand so they can see what the judges are looking for. And I also encourage the contestants to go to YouTube and look up International Speech Contest or table topics so they can get an idea of how to do it. There's also the timing sheet and the ballots and everything you need for your contest there. And this is the form 1182. So after you hold your club contest, you want to fill out one form for international and one form for table topics. And you're going to send this to us at contests@d100tm.org and let us know who your winners are. And we usually do include at least the first and second place, because if someone falls ill, we'll have the information for your other contestants. But you can place all of your winners there on that and submit it to us. And I'll show you on the next slide, this is our important dates to remember, that on February 15th, we want to know from your clubs if you're intending to participate. And then by the following Thursday, the 22nd, we want to have those forms submitted so we know the name of your clubs. So this means that you want to hold your club contests before these dates. Depending on how long your meeting is and how often you meet, you can either do both of the contests on one day, or my club meets once a week for an hour. So we do one contest one week and the second contest the next week. And then these are the dates for our contests. We have an area contest on March 9th. And the winner from the area contest will proceed to the division contest, which is on March 23rd. And both of these are going to be on Zoom only. And the winner from the division contest goes on to the district conference, which is on April 20th. And this is a hybrid and in person. The in-person portion will be at Caltech in Pasadena. And then I also have placed on this calendar the speech contestant briefing. So these will be on the Thursdays before. We wanted to give you a night off between the briefing. And at this briefing is when we will pick the contestant speaking order, and also answer all your questions, let you know what time to be there and what to expect. Now, we'd like everyone to participate. It's a great experience, and not everyone is going to be a contestant. So we encourage you to sign up as a functionary. Like I said, we need the timers, we need the judges, we need sergeant at arms. And so we are going to have two run-throughs for them. The Tuesday prior to the contest and the Thursday prior to that. And our judge will be there on the Tuesday before. And this way we give everyone a dry run to go through it so that we're not showing up unprepared, and gives everyone so they'll be comfortable and hopefully eliminate any snafus that may come up. And mainly I'm just here to answer any questions anyone has. I'm not sure. Glenn?
What was the date for the contest briefing for contestants?
It's going to be on the Thursday before each level of contest. So the area contest is March 9th. So the speech contest briefing will be on March 7th. And that'll be from 7 to 8 Pacific time. And the division contest is on March 23rd, Saturday. And the briefing will be on Thursday, the 21st. And I did want to point out, we will most likely have 2 morning groups and 2 afternoon groups, but we won't be able to give everyone the exact schedule until we have the list of all of your contestants, because we need to know how many contestants from each area will be participating because we have 5 areas and we have 4 time slots. And this also gives us time we need to vet all the contestants to make sure that the international speech contestants have completed their requirements. I think in previous years, we allowed people with the CC of a certain level to go on, and that is no longer the case. You can carry your DTM over, but we do want our contestants to have completed Pathways Level 1 and 2 to compete in the international speech contest now.
And just a confirmation on that one, it needs to be on the same path. So you can't have 2 paths that you're working on. You need to have level 1 and 2 completed on the same path, which technically if you've gotten to level 2, you're probably doing it all on the same path. But I just wanted to call that out because somebody asked, I'm doing 2 different paths. Can I do 2 level 1s? Like, no, it's level 1 and level 2. It's not two paths.
And I did want to point out that it's important in speech contests for the Toastmaster or the contest chair to be very impartial. And what they do for the international speech contest and also table topics is you introduce the person's name, you give them the title of the speech, you repeat the title of the speech and the contestant's name. There's a definite format that you follow. And you don't add any comments after the person speaks. You don't say, that was a wonderful speech. You don't want to give anyone a subconscious leg up on the competition. And it's also important when you do select for the drawing order, that it's very random. I was at a couple years ago, they had 2 contestants and only one showed up for the briefing, and they said, well, the other person didn't show up. Do you want to go first or second? And I was like, no, you can't do that. It has to be random.
I used a random name generator when I had to call out
Those are great. Yeah.
the order. But I want to say thank you for having a functionary meeting. We did not have that last year, and it was chaos.
Yes. Failure plan is planning to fail.
Yes, and I do want to encourage, we were just talking about that, where we meet every 2 weeks, our planning committee, and we are planning to come up with a list of mistakes that were made in the past and what we can do to circumvent those, because the contestants put a lot of time into this and it's important to them. And so we want to put that same care into preparing for the contest. So we do want to encourage everyone, if you're not going to be a contestant, to sign up and be one of the functionaries. It's really an enriching experience. The contests are my favorite part of Toastmasters now. And I can tell you that I sort of got talked into being a contestant when I joined Toastmasters. The old timer sort of prodded me into it. And I won the club speech contest. We had 4 contestants, 2 didn't show up, so that increased my odds. And when I went to the area contest, I was afraid that I was going to forget my lines. So I sat in the front row so I could have my notes there in case I went blank. And I started to have a panic attack during the break between the contestant and me. And I was like, can I get out of this room without anyone noticing and seeing me leave? And I went up, I did my speech. My last 2 paragraphs, my mouth went completely dry. And I sat back down and I said, I'm never doing this again. I'm quitting Toastmasters. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And then they said, the winner is Bill Harmon. And I was like, you want to hear my speech again? I'd love to. And I've been doing speech contests ever since. Go ahead.
I got like a tip and a question. I do, whenever I call on for table topics, my goal is 2 minutes and 15 seconds so that I'm not intimidated. When I see the red light, I feel real comfortable. I'm not going to go over. It's my little tip, but and I think this is a dumb question, but I can compete the International One Club and Table Topics another club, right?
What was that?
I do the international speech contest, be a contestant for one club and Table Topics for another club, right? There's not
Yes, you can do that. And you can actually do it in the same club.
Right. I knew that. I just thinking two different ones might have been a conflict, I guess.
Yeah, I think the issue where that becomes a problem is you can't be a judge if you're a contestant anywhere. So that's the one restriction. Or you can't be a contestant anywhere if you're a judge anywhere. Neither of those.
So I was runner-up in a competition, so I was literally, and I was also tagged to be contest Toastmaster, and it wasn't until the first place winner showed up in the Zoom, and then they went, "You're on Toastmaster," and I was like,
And I believe you can't be a contestant in 2 different areas. Is that correct?
That I think is correct.
Once you get to the area contest.
Now, I do confess that I have competed in like 5 clubs at once, but then you only go forward from one club to area. So you have to pick which one you want.
And I always like to point out that winning isn't everything. And sometimes you learn more from not winning. So it's really, don't be so competitive that you don't participate. You gain something from each experience.
Yeah, I'll call out that being a functionary in a contest, if you're not ready to speak, if you don't even want to speak at the contest level, it is still a very valid learning experience to be a functionary and be there supporting this and do the back end work for these contests to make them happen. And one way to practice that is by doing your club contests and getting your contestants all ready to put up there on the area stage.
As far as
I should already be on the list of volunteer possibilities.
Yep.
You're
I
a Zoom
had a-
host.
one of my club members had a really bad experience, and I think that it needs to be communicated. Jeff Lee has been a Toastmaster for over 20 years, and he was my club's contestant, and he should ask me because I was in that position the year before, but because he was declared a candidate to be a division director, he found out later that he was disqualified. So we lost our contestants. So I thought, okay, that's not a problem. I'll be what is it, a contest chair. So he was a contest chair for our Division P, and then learned like 2 weeks or a week before the contest that he was not eligible because he's a candidate. So we had to scramble because he was we had everything set and then found out at the last minute that he couldn't be the contest chair. So we had like a double negative experience.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
we brought that up in our contest meeting last week, actually, because there are a number of people who are running for next year's office that have already submitted their paperwork, their candidacy, that are now ineligible to either be functionaries on stage or contestants. So.
And 2 years ago, actually it was 2 years ago, I had to recuse myself from participating in District 12 contest because I was a candidate. And we could have played with the declaration, postpone until later, but eventually it would caught up with you. It would catch up. So there's no point in playing around with the paperwork and declare it later, because the contest continues on unless you only want to do it for area versus I suppose you could play and win if you're planning to run for division versus area director.
Yeah, some clubs have their contest season scheduled slightly differently, such that it's a little more amenable to people running for office, but ours is not necessarily the greatest timeline for being able to do that. But it is a factor to keep in mind. The same goes with judges, making sure that they're not in the same club as any of their competitors and so on. So there's a number of reasons to get DQ'd at the area and division level, but that's the topic for a future meeting.
Yeah, but however, you can still be a participant in the contest, be the timer or Zoom master, a ballot counter.
I got around it but the year prior to me becoming the division director by not the running from the floor.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was an option.
And we will have separate judges classes at Learning Lab. So I didn't go too much in depth of that. If you're doing your contest on Zoom, you can of course create breakout rooms where you can send your contestants so they don't hear the table topics. For the international speech contest, there's no reason you don't have to leave the room. You can hear everyone can hear everyone's speeches.
I have a question on judges. I know like in Founders District, you had to have training to be a judge, or the international, you don't have to. But on the district level this year, is that going to be a requirement to be a judge?
We will be holding training sessions. As Bill mentioned, in the next Learning Lab, there will be training sessions as well. We're going to be recording a training session. It's really a kind of an affidavit of understanding of what you're doing as a judge, making sure that you have the skills necessary to be the judge, as well as have the appropriate education levels completed to be a judge. So that is the level at which we require in D100.
But if you don't show, you're not disqualified as a judge.
If you don't show up and get the training,
Yeah.
That would be hard pressed to move forward with if someone isn't actively trained as a judge to have them judge our contests.
now I want to add an addendum. I believe the training is good for or effective for 2 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good to know. And I do want to encourage everyone who's going to be a contestant, or just everyone in general, to print out and read the speech contest rule book. It's your responsibility as a contestant to know all the rules, and it's good to know. And you can't say I didn't know, because that's no excuse. You need to read the rule book.
Also, as regarding judges, when I was division director, I was told by Darren that district would provide the judges.
that was a wording choice. The district is amassing a pool of judges, but we need to contribute to that pool. Otherwise, we have no judges to met out.
Okay.
So yes, the district is providing the judges, as in we're analyzing whether they're appropriate, whether they're trained, whether they're impartial based on their club membership, etc. But we don't have a pool that we're giving out unless you feed into the pool.
Did anyone have any other questions? Anything I didn't cover, Heather, that you wanted me to?
I think you got it all. That again, the one thing I want to reiterate is having a club contest lets you get the practice for either serving as a functionary or being a contestant, knowing that introduction that Bill mentioned, where all you get is speech title, name, speech title, or reversed, but getting those formalities out of the way so that you're accustomed to it by the time you come to the area contest, it really gets rid of some of the nerves associated with coming into this different forum later. And I encourage everybody to either have a speech contest or work with somebody else on their speech contest, etc., at the club level.
And we like at our club to do a round robin evaluation of our international speech contest winner, and then perhaps give them an opportunity to come back and do it again. So by the time they get to the area contest, they've been able to give the speech a couple of times.
And then in between, I would recommend ACTS has a speech clinic, and I really enjoy. They've got excellent coaching, even just to be in the audience, but for participants that make it from the area especially should go to that speech clinic.
And we usually hold that between the area and the division speech contest that week between. And I will definitely publicize that when we get closer to that time period. I'm going to start recording, Bill.
I had an international speech competitor at my club 2 years ago, or last year. It was last year.
Yeah.
And I sent her to practice her speech at a couple different clubs. I contacted people I know who are in other clubs, and I said, can my contestant speak at your club and get feedback?
This works on a year you have an evaluation contest, but I volunteered to be a test speaker to get practice in.
Johnny was a test speaker
Mhm.
last 2 years ago.
A month after I joined Toastmasters.
And now that there's so much virtual, any contestant can go around the world and practice. Because you can just write a club and say, hey, can I practice my contest speech? And even no one in your district will get a chance to hear it if you go everywhere.
Absolutely, good tip. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording, Bill, unless anybody has any more questions.